Hello, today we are going to be making our flowers. So this is going to take probably 2 days to create. And so I have kind of like what the middle of the flower is going to look like right there for you to see. Let's go ahead and set that to the side and get started with our project. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to get your toilet paper roll, and we're just going to kind of make a mark around the edge of it. So I'm going to take my finger, and you're going to need to do about up until about half of your finger. All right, about half of your finger. And you want to, with your pencil, you want to kind of use that half of a finger mark to kind of create a measuring point right there. So I measured half of my finger and I put a little dot right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly turn my toilet paper tube until I have gone full circle, and I'm going really slow so that I can kind of sort of leave it even. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you take your time, it'll be pretty decent. All right, I've gone all the way around, and I've made this line because I know that I don't want to cut past that line right there. Now, after you get done doing that, your next step is going to be to create your flower petals. So it'll end up looking a little something like this right here. And so we don't want our flower petals to be too skinny. My flower petals are different widths, and that's okay. You can make them different, you can make them the same. In order to do that, you're going to cut on this part of your toilet paper tube. This is the bottom right here. So that part is the part where your flower is going to stand. That's the base. So we don't want to cut the base. What we're going to do is we're going to start by creating our very first slit. And I'm just going to stop once I get to that line. And then I'm going to decide how wide I want my flower petal to be. And I think I want it to be about right here. If you want, you can make little markings around the top to kind of make a plan, or you can just go ahead and cut whatever works for you. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm stopping right at that line. And then before I finish, I'm kind of gonna see how much toilet paper tube I have left. And right now I can see that I'm just going to make one more cut. And there you have it. And then once you get done doing that, the next step is going to be to open up your flower petals. And then at this point, you can decide how you want the flower petals to end. All right, what kind of point do you want them to have? So for this one, I just made some rounded points. You can make them pointy, like a little spiky flower if you'd like. It's completely up to you how you want them to be. Just take a little bit of time to cut those out the way that you want. You can make them spiky, or I don't know, you can make them oval. It's up to you. Once you are done cutting, I want for you to make sure that you put your scraps into the trash. Make sure that you put your scraps into the trash. All right. Then, after I do that, today we're going to do one coat of paint. So you're going to get your paint in a bowl. All right. And then you're going to go ahead and paint the inside, and if you can, the outside very, very carefully. So I'm just going to take my time and paint the outside of my flower first. If I were to paint the inside of the flower first, then that probably, guys, it wouldn't be the best way to go about this project, because if the outside of your flower is wet, then you won't be able to hold on to your flower. Artists are problem solvers, and so the best way to go about doing this is to paint the inside first, and then you'll paint the outside. So after you're done with the petals, you're going to paint the outside. You do not have to paint the inside of the flower because that part is going to be covered up. So what you want to do is you just want to go ahead and turn your flower around, and you're going to start painting the flower petals on the outside. You want to keep the base for last. And the reason why you want to do that is because obviously, again, you need something to hold on to. All right, so I'm done painting all the flower petals, and then the next step is going to be to paint the base of your flower. So notice how I'm just kind of being very careful. I am being a serious artist. There's a difference, guys, between being a serious artist and a silly artist. You should not have paint all over yourself right now. If you are focusing on what you're doing and you're being serious, you should not have paint all over. So this last little part right here, I think that what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set my paintbrush down, and I'm just going to hold my painting or my flower like this, and then that is it, friends. You can see if you can possibly get this little bit painted, but if you can't, you could just leave it. But if you can, then great. All right. So I have my entire flower painted, and then the next thing that I'm going to do with that, I'm going to go ahead and take that outside to dry. And so I don't have a tray on mine right now, but you guys will be getting a tray. And so you're going to very carefully take your flower petal and you're going to take it outside to dry. And then after you do that, you're going to go ahead and start creating the eye. You're going to start creating the eye for your flower. So to do that, I already have one that I've created. That one's already done. And so in order to do that, I think that the best thing to do would be to create a sort of stencil. So I'm going to use a pen to do mine. I want for you guys obviously to use a pencil. So let me go ahead and wipe this down a little bit so that it doesn't get onto my paper. And then I'm going to kind of sort of get some ideas on my paper. You could do your eye however you would like, but you have to make sure that it is big because this eye has to go over top of your paper flower. All right, so it has to cover that up. So it should be a pretty good size. And so if we take my eye, and we kind of measure it. Let's go ahead and put it onto our hand. So if I measure this with my hand, it's almost my entire hand almost. And so I'm sure that my hand is probably bigger than most of yours. And so I would just go ahead and say that you should make your little eyelash part almost about as big as your hand. That's a good reference point, a good measuring tool. So if I were to say, okay, I need to make this about as big as my hand, maybe about up to here, okay? So I'm gonna know I want my flower or for my eyelash to go from here to maybe right about here. All right, so you could measure it with your hand, or you could even, if you'd like, do half of your paper. It's up to you. I'm just gonna do it like this, about that big. Now, I want to do my eyelash within this area right here. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and draw my little stencil. There it is, like that. And then if you decide that that is a good enough size, then you can cut it out. If you say, I think that I don't like that one, let me try one more time, all right? So then you can do another one because you still have room on your paper. You can try again. All right, so I don't know, maybe I like that one better. All right, but they're both pretty big. If I put my hand here, I mean, it's pretty big, guys. So you're going to decide which one it is that you like, and then you're going to cut it out. And after you cut this out, you're going to use it again as a stencil. So a stencil is just something that you can trace. And the reason why we do this is because you're only going to get one small sheet of black paper, and you need to make sure that you have your eyelash done exactly how you would like for it to be, because you can't, really have any room for practicing on your black paper because you're only going to get one black paper. But you can keep practicing on your white paper. I did mine twice. Maybe you want to do yours 3 times. I don't know. But I think if you do it, once, twice, no more than 3 times, you should be able to pick one out of the 3 that you like. It shouldn't take a long time to draw these. It's just a quick little shape. Once you are done cutting, you can throw your scraps in the trash. We want to try to keep our area clean. All right, so there you have it. That is a beautiful stencil. All right, and then once you get done with that stencil, what you're going to do is you are going to get your black paper, and you actually will use a pencil. Pencil shows up really great on black paper. And so you're just going to put your stencil right onto your black paper, and you are going to use your pencil to trace right around the stencil that you created. So you're just going to put your hand on there and go ahead and trace that stencil that you made. And after you trace it, you want to go and cut it out. There you go. And you're going to, I think it's easier to kind of cut around here. I'm going to cut around, and you're going to just cut right on those pencil lines that you made. Once you're done cutting, you can put your scraps in the trash. And you're going to do something very similar with the eye. With the eye, you want to make a stencil also. The reason why we do the stencils is because you only get one piece of the colored paper, but you can have, more than one for the white. And there is my cutout right there. And after you get done doing that, I would use this pencil side as the back. So I'm just going to turn it around. We want the pencil side to be the back. And you're going to use this original stencil that you created to make your eye stencil. And the reason why you should do that is so that you can make sure that it fits really nicely within your shape. So I'm just going to super lightly, you need to super lightly draw with your pencil your eyeball shape. All right, and the reason why you want to do it light is because if you do your pencil markings dark, it's hard to erase. So if you need to erase something and you draw it real dark, it's harder to erase that, and you don't want that. So I think that that's a pretty great size for the stencil. It fits really nicely. And then I'm just going to cut that out. All right, so there's my second stencil. And then you're going to use this stencil to cut out onto the cardboard. So these are some scrap cardboard pieces. And you're just going to use your pencil to trace the stencil that you've created. There we go. And after you have your stencil traced with your pencil, you're going to cut it out. All right, so now I have my black eyelash and I have my blue eyeball, and then we are going to pick a piece of foam. We're going to pick a piece of foam to put into the middle of the eyeball. So there's a lot of different kinds of foam that I have. So it's going to kind of be you get what you get and you don't throw a fit type of deal. I'm going to try to give you maybe like a color that you want, but we don't have a whole bunch of time to pass out, specific foam pieces. So here's a kind of cool piece that I found that kind of looks cool. Or you can have something round. I think the best thing is something like really bright in the middle. All right. So there's different choices. What you want to do is a lot of these foam ones are stickers. They're stickers. So you can just take the back off. Well, it's kind of hard to do, but you can get the back off if you're very careful. And you get to decide how you want the middle. I'm going to do my middle like that. And then afterwards, you're going to get your glue stick. You're going to get your glue stick and you're going to go ahead and glue um, the eyeball onto that like black little eyelash thing that you made. Open up your glue stick. You don't need a whole bunch of that glue. And you're going to go around the edges of your eye, fill it in the middle. You make sure you have a good bit of glue so that it doesn't fall off, because since this is cardboard, it's a little bit heavier. You want to close your glue cap and there you have it. You're just going to push down onto the black construction paper or whatever color construction paper you end up getting. And you want to write your name with your pencil on the back. I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but it's there. There it is. All right, and we will be working on these again the next time that you come.